Hi yogis, welcome to today's practice. My name is Brianna and I'm so excited you could join me today. So we're just gonna get right into it. I wanna start standing. And I wanna start just by getting used to moving with the breath. So I want you to take a deep inhale, arms come all the way up. Exhale, hands come to prayer at heart center. Again, inhale, arms come all the way up. Exhale, hands come to prayer, heart center. One more time. So you're gonna inhale, arms come all the way up. Exhale, hands come to prayer, heart center. Good. So I'm gonna turn to face the short side of my mat. Hope you're on the same page. We're gonna inhale again and bring our arms all the way up again. And this time as you exhale, I want you to fold forward, bringing the chest in towards the legs. If you want to, you can bend your knees slightly here so that your belly touches the tops of your legs, or you can keep your legs straight. It's up to you, whatever feels most comfortable right now. I want you to inhale. Your hands can stay on the mat, your shins, your thighs. The important thing is you're coming up halfway to a flat back. And then you're gonna exhale, hands come down, one foot goes back, and then the other, and we're in a plank. I want you to slowly drop the knees, untuck the toes, chest comes down and up. You're pushing your pelvis into the mat, elbows are hugging in towards the rib cage. And then go ahead and release. I want you to either tuck the toes and push back to downward dog, or you can come up to tabletop, tuck your toes and push back to down dog. It doesn't matter, whatever works for you, it's your practice. Never feel like you have to do the hard way or the way that feels hard for you. It's your practice, and to get the most out of your practice, you have to build strength, so practice at your level, okay? That's what's gonna make you like yoga, not trying to do too much too soon. So we're here in downward dog. We're pushing out of our hands. Our fingers are spread wide. Weight is evenly distributed on the right and left side of our body. Heels are pressing towards the floor. We're gonna look towards our hands and walk our feet forward. I want you to inhale, come back to that halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, come all the way up. Arms are reaching. And then as you exhale, they come to prayer at heart center. You can release the hands. Inhale through the nose. And exhale through the nose. Deep inhale, arms come all the way up, reach, and then you're gonna exhale, fold all the way down. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant your hands. One foot goes back, and then the other, we're back in our plank. So you can, again, drop the knees, untuck the feet, lower down. Baby cobra. Go ahead, lower down and push back to downward facing dog, however you need to get here. Breathing deep through the nose. If you ever get tired, you can always drop the knees, hips come back, and take a child's pose at any time during the practice. But we are going to move on. So look towards the front of your hands. Walk the feet forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, come all the way up. Exhale, hands come to prayer at heart center. So we're gonna do this one more time. Inhale, arms come all the way up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant your hands. One foot goes back, then the other. This time, if you can, lower down halfway, flip your feet, and push up into upward facing dog. So the tops of your feet and your hands are the only thing touching the mat. And then tuck the toes, push back, downward facing dog. Deep breaths in and out through the nose. I want you to inhale, lift the right leg, bring it between the hands. So now we're in a lunge. Watch that the knee and the foot are in line. Knee and the ankle. About 90-degree angle in that front knee. Should be feeling a really good stretch in that left hip flexor. Shoulders are not scrunching up towards your ears. They're just nice and low, natural. When you're ready, drop the back knee, untuck the toes. Left hand stays on the mat. Right hand reaches up high for a twist. Gaze is looking up towards that right hand. Be careful that you're not dumping a bunch of weight into your left hand though. Strong legs, strong core, strong body. Go ahead and bring the hand down. I want you to straighten the front the front leg. So your hips are right over the knee, the back knee, and you're coming over the front leg. And I want you to think about bringing your chest to your leg rather than trying to get your nose to your knee. Go ahead and bring the knee back, untuck the back toes, lift the back knee. I want you to plant your hands and push back to downward facing dog. Don't know about you, but I'm starting to feel my body wake up after that. So we're gonna lift the left leg. Bring it between the hands. And we're gonna sit up nice and tall, watching our shoulders, feeling that stretch right here in our hip flexor. Nice strong legs. You got this. And then you're gonna drop the back knee. Right hand comes to the mat, left hand reaches high. And again, you're not dumping all of your weight into that right hand. If it hurts your neck to look up, you're welcome to look down. Reaching, you should feel energy in all 5 of your fingers that are reaching towards the sky. Go ahead and bring the hand down, and then you're gonna straighten the front leg. And remember, watch your hips. They're over that back knee. Chest comes down to meet the leg. Not necessarily trying to bring the nose to the knee, but if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, don't try to force it though. Be gentle with your body today. My hamstring is very tight today because of a fast run that I did yesterday. So you might notice it feels a little bit different on each side. Go ahead and bring the angle back to that front knee. Tuck the back toes, plant your hands, and get back to downward facing dog. So I'm gonna plant my hands and bring the leg back. Feel much more awake. So we're gonna, again, inhale, right leg comes up, bring it between the hands. And then I want you to come all the way up to a high lunge. It helps if you look in one spot instead of like me looking all over the place. Your arms are shooting up towards the sky. And then you can pivot on the back foot. Arms come down. You're in warrior two. So I will turn to face you so it's not awkward. So your knee, make sure it's not coming in or out. You want it right over the ankle, and you want it at about a 90-degree angle. Shoulders are away from the ears. Make sure you're not dipping forward. Make sure your torso stays over your hips. And your gaze, you want to be looking right over those right fingertips. Arms, try not to let them drop. Nice and strong. Takes actually some strength to hold your arms up like this, because we don't do this very often. Our arms are often way down here, they're down here, they're down here while we look at our phone. And I'm asking you to hold them up. Feel the power. And now you can bring the left hand back down your back leg. Right arm comes up. You can gaze at the hand. Imagine you have like a mirror, checking yourself out. And then you can straighten the front leg as you come back up and over. And so now you can dip your torso forward. And then if you have a block, you can place your hand on a block. I like to keep my hand, the back of the hand on the ankle here. It helps me keep my wrists and hands in line, so I'm making a beautiful straight line from the ground all the way up. It's like connecting the heavens to the earth. It's kind of how I imagine it. You take one Tibetan art history class and that's all you'll think about when you see any kind of straight line from the ground to the sky. Your gaze in triangle pose, it can be up, it can be straight, it can be down. Do whatever feels best on your neck. Should be feeling a really good stretch in that front leg. And then go ahead and inhale, come up. So again, watch your arms, watch your knee. If you make a mistake, just acknowledge that you need to correct yourself and move on. It's okay. And then I want you to bring the back foot in slightly. Come all the way up out of that little pose. So your feet are at about 45-degree angles. I want you to come down. If you've ever taken ballet, it's like a plie. If you haven't, what you don't want to do, you don't need to stick your booty out. We're not doing a squat, okay? You want to bring your pelvis straight down. So straight down. So not this. We're not sitting back in a chair. We're just coming straight down. So feet are at about 45-degree angles. They're a bit wider than hips distance. And you're gonna come straight down. Arms are gonna come up like a cactus. And again, watch yourself. Are your elbows way down here, or is your arm parallel with the floor? That's what you want. And it's hard, and it's a lot to consider because you're tucking your pelvis. You have to keep your core engaged, but you can do it. You can watch your arms, you can watch your legs. Make sure you're rotating out at the legs so your knees are pressing back. You're not letting them dip in. That's very important. You don't want to have any knee pain later this week or tomorrow, tonight. Your feet are completely on the ground, okay? Make sure you're distributing your weight evenly through your body. I know you're like, are we done with this one yet? Go ahead and inhale, straighten your arms, straighten your legs, star pose. Flip your palms. Hands come all the way up. Sorry if you can't see mine. And while we're in this other variation of star pose, I want you to close your eyes. I'm gonna make you do something corny. And I want you to tell yourself, I am strong. Say it again. I am strong. One more time. I am strong. And then I want you to pivot your back foot, pivot your front foot, come back down to your warrior two. Windmill the arms. So now you're back in a lunge. And then go ahead and push back to downward facing dog. So I'm gonna turn around because we're gonna do the other side. The thing about downward facing dog is the more you practice it, the easier it gets. And I also find at the beginning of my practice, as my muscles are still warming up, it's very challenging. But the later we get in the practice, the easier it gets. So I hope it's the same for you. But we're gonna inhale, lift the left leg, bring it between the hands. And we're gonna come up into our high lunge on the other side. So again, arms are strong. Feel the power shooting out of your fingertips, from the shoulders, everywhere. You're a strong, powerful human being. And you can finish this class. You can. It helps if you smile. It really does. Feel the power in your legs. They're so strong. And you're gonna pivot and come into your warrior two on the other side. So again, watching the knee. You want that deep bend if you can get there, but just make sure that you're not compensating anywhere just to get there. Watch your shoulders, are they down? Gaze over those fingertips. Who are you staring at? And it really does help if you smile. You'll feel so elegant. And again, watch your arm. I felt my back arm dripping, so I'm bringing it back up. We get into these habits of our arms being here and here. So it's hard to break the habit even when we're doing a yoga practice. Go ahead and inhale, reach back. Maybe you're taking a selfie. Maybe that's what's in your hand from a weird angle. And then you're gonna come forward, straighten the front leg, triangle pose on the other side. And again, think about creating a beautiful line from the heavens to the earth. You're connecting that energy. If you looked up on the other side and it feels good on this side, continue to look up. If it doesn't feel good on this side, again, you can look straight, you can look down. This is a very versatile pose when it comes to your gaze. And you should be feeling a really good stretch right here in that front leg. Inhale, come up. We're in our warrior two, but we're gonna straighten our legs, walk it in just a little bit. We're gonna move our feet so they're about 45-degree angles, and we're gonna come down. Remember, tuck your pelvis and come straight down. Arms come up, big cactus, big old smile on your face. You're in goddess pose. I'm gonna bring my feet out slightly wider. And again, watch your knees push back. Tuck the pelvis, knees are back, engage your core. Your arms are lifted. You got this. You are a goddess, a warrior. You're a powerful being. You can do this. You're probably working part of your leg muscles that don't get worked very often, again, unless you're a dancer or a yogi and you do this pose a lot like I do. Or maybe you take a lot of barre classes. Could be wrong, but I know the average American, you might be working some muscles that you don't normally use. So we're gonna inhale, straighten the arms, straighten the legs, star pose. And then inhale again, arms come up. Sorry if you can't see my hands anymore. And I want you to say, I am brave. I know it's corny, but just bear with me. Say it one more time. I am brave. And one more time. I am brave. Go ahead and come down. You're gonna pivot the back foot slightly, front foot slightly. Front toes are pointing straight. Bend that knee. Your arms come back to being parallel with the floor. Gazing over that front hand. We're back in warrior two. And then I want you to windmill the arms down. Pivot the back toes. We're in our lunge. You're gonna plant your hands, push back to downward facing dog. Or if you need to, go back to tabletop and then downward facing dog. Again, it's your practice. Just because this works for me doesn't mean that it's gonna work for you. Good. Go ahead and drop the knees. I want you to come down. And I want you to take one leg. I have my right leg in front of the other. Sit up nice and tall, shoulders down. Inhale, arms up. Reach over that front leg. You are doing so great. We just have a little ways to go. Walk your hands back up. Switch. Inhale, arms come up. And I want you to bend over the front leg. I get a little less chatty when we're on the floor. And then come up. Okay, so you're gonna turn. I want to do boat pose because we need a little bit of core work. I won't make you stay here very long, but you're gonna lift your legs so that your shins are about parallel with the floor. You're reaching the chest up and forward. You can have your arms, if you need to, you can gently touch the backs of your legs. You can bring the arms parallel with the floor as well. Or you can raise your arms, you can straighten the legs. I like to stay just here, I like to float. So we're just gonna float here. Trying to sit up nice and tall in a nice V. La da da, we're just gonna float. If you can bring your arms up and down, and up and down. One more, up and down. Good job. Go ahead and come down. And you can come all the way down. All right, so from here, we're gonna do bridge pose. So plant your feet and you're gonna lift your hips. You can walk your shoulders, your arms under, and then make sure you're lifting your chest as well. So you're not just lifting the hips, you're also lifting your chest. And we're gonna hold. I say this almost every time and I'll say it again. This is a really good pose if you sit a lot because you're engaging your glutes and then you're also lengthening your hip flexors. Your hip flexors, they get really tight when we're sitting all day. And our glutes can get really weak and deformed, so good job. It's a little bit hard to talk when my chest is lifted like this. Watch your knees, that they're not swinging in or out. Can you clasp your hands underneath you? Are you feeling it in the glutes, your booty? Go ahead and release. Good job. From here, I want you to bring your knees in. Feet come up towards the ceiling, and I want you to take your peace fingers around your big toes, or you can grab onto the outsides of your feet. I hope your feet are clean. Elbows are on the insides of the knee. And you should feel a good stretch in the hip flexors. If you're not feeling a stretch, try widening your stance. So bring the feet out slightly wider and then you should feel it. Oh yeah. If it feels good for you, you can gently rock in this pose, but be very gentle. And also, it might not feel good for you, depending on what kind of floor is under your mat, if you're even using a mat, or maybe you're using a towel, or you're just on your carpet. It might not feel good for you. It also depends on, I think, how much fat you have on your back, or maybe muscle around that spine. That, you know, that's padding. So depending on how much padding you have back there, it might not feel as good. Because some people have a lot of padding on their spine and others don't. So either way, I'm just telling you to do whatever feels best for you. So if you want to rock and it feels good, you rock. This mat, for some reason, it's actually thinner than my old mat, but it's whatever it's made out of, it tends to do pretty good for my knees and my spine as far as cushioning. If anybody wants the link, just let me know. I'll see if I can find it. I think I just bought it on Amazon. All right, I've held you here long enough. So go ahead and bring the knees down. Feet come back to the mat. There's one pose I really like to do several times a week. I want you to bring one foot ankle over the other knee. Lift the other foot off the ground. So you're in figure 4 pose. Your hands come underneath the thigh and your feet are flexed. And then from here, I want you to drop to one side, and then bring the foot where the ankle is crossed over the knee, bring that foot down to the floor. I hope that made sense. And then arms come out to a T and you're looking over the opposite shoulder. So this gives you a really good stretch kind of on the side of your leg and like a different area of your hip, or at least of my hip. I'm feeling it up here and along the side here. If you're a runner, this is a good stretch for you to do. Inhale, come up. And we'll do the other side. So you bring one ankle over the other knee, feet are flexed, hands come underneath the thigh. And then go ahead and drop, bring that foot that's over the ankle down to the ground. Arms come out to a T. Look over the opposite shoulder. So if my right foot's on the ground, I'm looking over right shoulder. Go ahead and come all the way back up. Bring your knees into your chest. Give yourself a hug. You did it. Yay. And then exhale to your Shavasana. And while you're here, I want you to focus on your breath. Try not to let your mind move on to whatever you're doing after this or to that embarrassing thing you did 5 years ago. Push any thoughts away except for being here in the present moment on your mat. Slowly begin to wiggle your fingers and your toes. And then turn onto one side and I'll meet you in a seated position unless you want to stay in Shavasana. All right, thank you so much for joining me for today's class. This was a really good, quick beginner flow, and I hope it helped you build some yoga confidence and some confidence in your body and its amazing abilities. So if you want to practice with me again, I've got a few other videos on here, and I hope that they get better in quality as time goes on, so stick with me. And if you want to practice with me live, I would love it, so come practice with me at BreOutside.com. But see you next time.